Hi, I'm Greg Robinson and this is myphotographyshow.com. I'm here right now to critique this image that was sent in by Jeff. Thanks Jeff for sending your image in. Jeff says that this was a manual exposure shot in RAW, spot metered, automatic white balance, manual focus taken on 5/17/14 at Nerstrand Bigwood State Park on a very bright morning. Wanted to get the bokeh just right, so that's why the open aperture, fast shutter speed at 200mm. It's a Minnesota dwarf trout lily. Thanks for taking a look. You're welcome, Jeff. Right, well, several things I have to say about this image. I'm going to comment this in two different parts, I'd say. We'll first talk about your settings and then your composition, and I'll probably make a third part talking about what the message. I'm going to call it the message. You'll have to watch the video to find out what that is. Now, let's get into it. Your settings. ISO 100, great choice. Lowest noise possible. For those of you who do not know, the more noise, the more ISO you use, in a way, so the higher your number is, if you go into 3200 or 1600 ISO, the more noise you will get in your image. Your shutter speed was at 1/4000th of a second, which is extremely fast for an aperture of f/2.8. The choice of your open aperture of f2.8 was to isolate your subject, as you said, to get your bokeh. So once again, those of you who do not know, bokeh is what we use in our jargon to talk about the quality of the background, the quality of the blur in the background when you isolate your subject, just as Jeff has done here. Okay. So in terms of settings, I have nothing to say, Jeff. That was perfect. That was exactly what I would have done. Great going on that. Now, compositionally, I do not agree with you. I'll tell you why. What you've done here is you've centered your trout lily, your Minnesota dwarf trout lily. You've centered it perfectly in the image. Now, wouldn't it be more interesting, first off, to once again respect the rule of thirds? Those of you who know me know that I love the rule of thirds. I find it creates much more harmonious images. So instead of framing it like this, I'm going to do it on Photoshop, but instead of framing it this way, I would have suggested maybe placing the tip of the dwarf trout lily on a rule of thirds point. So something like here, basically, roughly, okay? I'd even put it there. And then you've got a much more dynamic image, much more balance, much more interesting. However, let's have a look at the diagonal lines. If we just look at lines, we've got one diagonal going down here and another one going down here. Do you want them to go down? That's your choice. That's the photographer's choice. Personally, I prefer things to go up because I'm optimistic. But then again, if I want to send a kind of downside message, then I want things to go down. If you wanted them to go up, I would suggest flipping the image around like this, as simple as that, and then your Minnesota dwarf trout lily, as you call it, goes up. Simple as that. I would even better the composition here slightly. I'd bring that down and probably that a bit higher, and try and get these diagonals, you know, coming off from here, basically. That's what I'm trying to get. Kind of moving from the bottom left corner. There we go, that's a bit better. From the bottom left corner and upwards towards the lily. This is what I generally call working your subject, Jeff. Working your subject is when you're on location, you're shooting your photo, you found your subject, you know what you want to get, keep working at it, keep trying different views, different angles, managing your background, for example. Here we have a background which is a bit brown here and a bit green there. Now, I especially like the way you've managed to outline this green leaf with the green here. That looks spot on. And the fact that the white petals of the lily are against this dark background. That's great. But wouldn't it have been a little better if you kind of tilted your camera down like that? You know, you brought your point of view down a bit and shot higher from a lower point of view, going upwards like that instead of straight on. That probably would have enabled you to get the entire white part of the lily in this dark background, which would have been probably more interesting. I don't know. That's why it's called working the subject. It's trying, whilst you're on location, to get as many shots as possible of your subject and see afterwards on the computer. Then you'll choose. Okay, otherwise, great choice. As always, yes, the message. Now, what do I mean by the message? What are you trying to tell us through this image, Jeff? What is the message you're trying to deliver? If there is one, are you just trying to show us what a Minnesota dwarf trout lily looks like, or are you just trying to experiment in nature photography or macro photography? We don't know. It doesn't really matter if we know or not. It's just the most important thing is you know why you're taking this picture. You know why you wanted that image, and that's, I find, a pretty important thing when you're taking photos. Okay? Thanks for watching this video, Jeff. Thanks for having sent the image. Thank you all you other viewers out there who are learning from myphotographyshow.com. I hope you'll send your images in soon as well. Don't forget the website, so it's myphotographyshow.com. You can also find us on YouTube, you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Twitter. You can share our different images from our website to your Facebook. Get your friends over, get as many people as you can to send their images for a free critique. I hope to see you soon on myphotographyshow.com. This is Greg Robinson saying see you soon.